Well, good evening out there. Well, the sun has slowly made its way down once more, and we can finally get comfortable and have a chat. My name is Eddie Booze, and this is Exit the Matrix. Throughout my life, I have traversed my share of rabbit holes, and like many of you out there, I have seen and experienced some things that I simply cannot explain. I invite you all to consider that this world may not be exactly what we've been told it is, and that maybe, just maybe, we haven't even scratched the surface of the absolute truths that lie before us. That being said, let's get into today's episode, and let me introduce our wonderful guest today. We have with us the wonderful, the talented Bridget the Midget. How you doing?
Hi.
Good to have you today.
Thank you.
This is awesome. All right, so it's a very interesting story how we met, actually. I went to, actually, I had a poker game. I have a poker game every Thursday night, and my buddy brought his buddy, Rory, over to my house, and we were just hanging out chatting, and he goes, I'm going to step outside and talk to my wife real quick. So I go outside to smoke a cigarette with him, and he goes, I say, who's your wife? And he goes, oh, my wife's one of the most famous women in the world. I said, oh, no shit, who? And he said, oh, my wife's Bridget the Midget, and I fucking lost it. I said, no fucking shit, dude, like, that is the coolest fucking thing ever, dude. So he invited me to, the next week, he invited me to Micromania, midget wrestling, and I went out there, and it was one of the coolest fucking things I have ever seen. Got to hang out with Bridget, and got to talk about all kinds of stuff, and we got to talking, and lo and behold, she's into conspiracy theories, guys. So talked to her, asked her if she'd come on the show, and she said she'd love to. So how you doing today, Bridget?
Who isn't into conspiracy theories these
right
days?
Exactly.
I mean, like, almost everybody I talk to is into some sort of conspiracy theory or not.
And it's like, the further we get, the further we move forward in today's society, it's like conspiracy theories are just kind of like, they're being proven more true every day. Out
of all the conspiracy theories, let's say, 1,000, something's got to be true.
Right.
So that's like the whole point is, like, in order to find truth, you have to go through all these other things of doubt and, who knows what. So
Exactly. But
the truth hopefully will be there. And the one thing I do know is we don't know our history.
Right.
We do not know our history. We're just learning. I mean, they found this stuff under the pyramids. Who knows what it is?
Dude, what the fuck?
I know.
That's recent. Like,
there could be so many ideas. Is it a battery? Is it a body energy drainer? Is it just some random stuff that they used to clear water for? Who knows? It could be anything.
So they're saying it's like. They're saying that it's like so huge, that there's like levels and like as big as a city down there.
Yeah, like Easter Island, you just saw the tops, and then they found out there were like the whole things were there.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like the same thing. There's like just these tops to the pyramid, and underneath are these structures that we're just finding out.
So I wonder if so my question is, did these ancients who are building these, whoever constructed everything, like the cities underneath and the pyramids, my question is, did they construct it underground, or did over time
it got covered by a natural disaster? I absolutely believe that there was a natural disaster that covered everything, and there was a society before us, I don't know, Tartary, whatever you want to call it, because there's leftovers of it, and it's all around us, I think. I mean, we've obviously seen it all on, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Some buildings, but they've built around them, so that we can't actually see the true structures of them. And obviously, they have big doors, but the big door thing is just the bigger the door you had, the richer you were. That's right. It's kind of that thing. But there's these other structures that are out there. There's definitely something to that, that says something about our history,
right?
That we don't know. And like the Grand Canyon, I don't think that was really just carved out through water. that was a quarry. It's so obvious that was a quarry. There's pyramids and stuff out there.
Okay, so back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like back at the advent of YouTube, when YouTube very first started, I remember seeing a fair amount of stuff about them finding a cave in the Grand Canyon that had like ancient Chinese artifacts, like ancient Egyptian artifacts, all kinds of things from around the world in the Grand Canyon that could not have possibly been there.
Okay, so that tells you obviously that if there are things from all around the world found all around the world that are the same thing, pyramid structures, this, that at one time Mexico, the world was connected somehow.
Yes.
So that tells you that there was a time that there was technology before us. There has to be. There's no other way.
Greater than what we have now.
Yes, and it has all been lost to some type of natural disaster, and we just don't know what. Noah's Ark, whatever it was. I mean, maybe there's a record in the Bible. I don't know. But obviously there was a natural disaster because there's seashells and stuff in the middle of the desert. And so it tells you the ocean, they're digging it up. It was out there.
Right.
I mean, what does common sense tell you? That's common sense.
Exactly.
And maybe obviously they want to hide it, or maybe they found the technology and they know what it is. And that's what we're getting right now, which now gets into AI.
Well,
this could be found technology.
Right.
AI could have been a warning this whole time. God could have been short for something else, which is AI, artificial intelligence.
Okay, so I'm going to reference a science fiction story.
Also, AI is an eye.
Right? The all-seeing eye. Yeah. On the dollar bill. I know what you're talking about. So check this out. So what you're talking about AI being God, I read a story recently, a science fiction story. I believe it was from, I want to say Isaac Asimov, but I might be wrong. I think I'm getting this wrong. And it was called The Last Question. I think it was called The Last Question. And it was about it was about an AI system. It actually spans trillions of years, and it tells humanity's entire story in over trillions of years in like 11 pages. It's a very short story, but it's amazing. And the question that is asked of the AI, and it starts kind of in our time, maybe like a near distant future, and then it goes into like where mankind is no longer even having bodies anymore. But the question is that they ask AI is, can entropy be reversed? So it's can the dying of the universe be reversed? And eventually it goes into, and every trillion or 2 trillion years or so, somebody asks AI that question, and the answer is, if I can remember, is that they keep getting is, I don't yet have enough information to answer that question. And the ending is fucking awesome. So I won't tell you guys. It actually choked me up when I read it, when I read the ending. But take a minute to read that, The Last Question. It very, very deeply in detail dives into what you just said, into that idea, that AI is God, or AI has been some sort of creator.
Hypothetically, if a long time ago, common sense, if the Earth was connected, then technology was great back, there was another society, right, advanced, just like us. And let's say they did create an AI. Let's say they created an AI that was supposed to take care of them, kind of like the movie Terminator, and it was doing good and everything, but everything got destroyed. Let's say under the pyramid, that's the computer system, that's the AI. Now, what if this AI and the people who are going to implement that soon, because now we have Denny's, they have robots everywhere, they have robot dogs everywhere, and they're implementing robots just like the Terminator. And you're seeing rich people with their little robots holding the bags right now. It's just the beginning. Wait till all the robots are everywhere. What if that AI is just waiting for that moment, and then it's going to turn on and be interconnected with everything, not just robots, our computers, our phones, which our phones can literally see our bodies through, that thing that the phone, it
the
can
modems.
See us. It knows what we're doing, where we're walking, what we're thinking. When you think of an ad in your head, that shit pops up on your phone. You don't even have to say it anymore.
I know,
because your brain, it's scanning your brain, and there are parts of your brain that tweak more than others, so it knows if you, let's say you say, oh, I like that car, maybe a part of your brain tweaks, and the phone can scan that now, so it knows to put that ad because that's what you want to see.
Right.
I think some weird stuff is going on.
Yes.
And AI's acting like the Bible even says it's going to come and be the savior, and we're going to think it's going to save us, and it's going to be all good, right?
I love
and
this.
It's not. It's in control. The thing is, you can't have one thing control anybody, because then that's the downfall of society. Control is actually not a good thing.
100% agree.
That's why anarchy is sort of a punk rock is sort of that's why we're here to let people know that control is not always good.
Absolutely.
People just need to learn on their own how to grow up and be mature on their own.
Self-responsibility?
Yes.
Wow.
And we don't have parents.
What an idea.
And we don't have parents who teach us that. That's why the society is downfalling and the kids are getting worse and worse and worse.
I agree.
We're not learning from our parents.
Correct.
School, we're not being taught what and how to think. How to feel.
Values aren't being instilled generationally. They're being instilled by the state. Now.
Yes.
So our kids are going to school, and instead of parents instilling the values of their family, of traditional values that they might have had in their family, their state and the schools and their teachers are now being the ones that are instilling the state values in these kids.
I mean, everybody's different. Everyone has a unique way to see the world. We all live in our own bubble,
right?
And everyone's different. And some people, if they don't get what they need when they're young, and they're going to grow up and be not a burden to society, but maybe we need that to knock things in place. Kind of like LPA. People always ask me, because Little People of America, there's one that's very left and very right.
Interesting.
I'm
really?
the right side. Oh yeah.
You're kidding.
They've banned me because I use the word midget. They just do not like it. But in a way, we need them to keep a balance, or people will overdo the word midget and make fun of us even more. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So you need a balance to everything. Good and bad is good. It's good, but I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of stuff up here that is there.
Yeah, no, you know what's funny is you make a lot of sense. You're not like kind of...
And I'm still trying to find it. I'm 47, and I'm still trying to find how to deal with my emotion. Things that I should have learned when I was younger that I'm realizing now that I'm older. And then
you're a human being.
And then you go, oh shit, I don't have enough time. I wish I had another 100 years.
Right. I know. You know what? And to that I say that you're a human being. We all get to be... no matter how long you live, you're always going to have the kid in you. We're always going to feel like, you know what imposter syndrome is? You're just kind of faking
Kids
it.
think grown-ups have it all together and know what we're doing. We actually don't.
That's right.
We're just running around trying to figure things out and pretending like we know. So kids think we got it together, and then they grow up and realize, oh shit, my parents had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not good. We should all know what we're doing by the time we're 12 years old. There are kids that know and are really, you know what I mean? And they say Americans are dumb. We're not dumb. We're just not being taught the right things, and it's taking too long.
I 100% agree. When I was growing up, I remember if something needed to be talked about in my household, we would have an actual family meeting.
Yeah.
We would actually sit down at the dinner table and eat as a family together. These are just examples of things that I feel are just being lost the longer we go and the more we go down the road of
communication, love, and trust.
Absolutely. And people are more stuck on their screens and on their phones.
They're more stuck on, is my kid gonna be like this? I need my kids to do this for me, and instead of focusing on loving their children and teaching them how to be a grown-up. But see, we don't know how to be a grown-up ourselves. Right, so how can we teach something we don't know ourselves to our kids, Right. So it's very difficult.
Do any of us really ever grow up? Do we ever feel like we grow up? Do you feel like you've grown up?
No, my mom's 78 years old, and 73, and she still feels like she said very young in her heart.
Me too.
Yeah, and I think we all do. And I think that's good. Now, what's bothering me is what they put in our food, what they're putting in the air, what they're putting in our clothes, what they're making what they're making us brush our teeth with, all the poisons that they're giving us to make us lose that. When we were young, we had something special. Yes. I don't know what it is they talk about.
A connection to source.
It's almost like you want to talk about Avatar. Maybe we were connected to the earth.
We're connected to God. We're connected to the universe. We're connected to source. These are conspiracies. Or it's almost like a parasite. We almost don't match with the earth, but the other animals seem to coexist peacefully. Are we aliens? Are we not supposed to be here? We are the only species.
Is that why our backs hunch when we get older? What's going on here?
We are the only species on earth that changes the environment around us to suit us.
Yes.
Every other animal
parasites kind of do that stuff.
That's right. So, every other animal on Earth, every other living creature on Earth adapts to its environment.
Yes.
We are the only ones who make our environment adapt to us.
And I would say we would have to try to find a way to do that. That would be, common sense would say that if we were to structure and knew how to, be with each other, we have to adapt to our environment. How can you do that? Ask those questions. And that's not happening right now. They just keep ruining it, making plastic bottles and poison and it's hard to feed all these people. I get it, because we're not making our own food for ourselves. We've lost the idea of what it's like to be in our own environment and love it.
A lot of people also, I mean, too, like we're talking about lost
money,
knowledge.
Money, the root of
right. Well, we're talking about lost knowledge. I mean, how about just growing your own food?
Yeah.
How about just growing your own sustainable food? Like,
but then we have stupid
dumbasses
out there that want to do stupid dumbass things, and then now you need like people to put police. Oh, maybe there's a different way to do it. Are we our own police? Like, who knows?
I have some ideas about that. In fact, I talked to Gersh, the owner, about that. Who you're going to be on Truth on Tell
later. That's a whole concept about how to structure. I have an idea, because there's some things not working right now.
I have a totally different idea on how to like structure the police. The way that law enforcement,
and the fact that I have so many people coming up to me and asking me that says that everybody wants to do that.
Yeah, there's definitely,
it's like sheep syndrome. Once you follow the circle and start it, you just keep going in that circle because you're following the person in front of you, and then you don't know how to break the cycle.
That conga
That's breaking
line,
the matrix.
Exactly.
That is exactly breaking the matrix.
Exactly.
Like, how can you do it?
Exit the
these
matrix,
are good
baby.
Questions.
All right, that brings me to our actual topic for today.
Exactly.
So when I talked to Bridget on Thursday, I asked Bridget, what are a few of your favorite like conspiracy theories? And the first thing she said was that AI is the antichrist or will usher in the antichrist. So I was just like, all right, for sure. You know what's crazy about that is I had talked to my pastor about that day. I had interviewed him right here that day, and we had talked about a bunch of different biblical conspiracy theories, but that was one of them that we kind of touched on. So I'd like to kind of dive into that today. Let's dive into the idea of AI, the antichrist, and the image of the beast. And kind of like see where it takes us. So
we think our phones will do everything for us.
Exactly. And I'm doing something for me right now, but here we go. So foundation, who is the Antichrist? Okay, let's kind of take a quick look at the spiritual overview and a couple of scriptures. 1 John 4:3 says, and every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God, and this is that spirit of Antichrist. 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4 say, the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God. And Revelations 13:7-8 says, it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Okay, now key concepts here to take in are the Antichrist is a spiritual presence, a person, and potentially a system. Okay, so this is kind of like the thought here. He performs false signs and wonders, gains global influence, blasphemes God, and demands worship. Now these are the key components of the Antichrist that we will see from the Antichrist. He will be emerging not just as a dictator, but as the technological and spiritual apex of human rebellion. Now, Bridget, do you believe the Antichrist is a single person or something more systematic, maybe even digital?
Something more systematic, maybe even digital, but I believe that somebody made that. Somebody created that.
Intentionally, with intent.
So whoever created that, I don't know where they are. That's like my next question is, who created this AI that's going to be the all-I? It's going to take over everything. Somebody created it. Who's taking care of that system? Who's programming that system? I wonder who these men are. Are they aliens? Are they reptilians? Are they... Who knows? But someone is programming this thing that we're all going to worship because it's God. God is something more of a mind. You can't touch it or feel it. It's in your heart, But this system, you can touch it and feel it and hold it. So people, to them, it's warming, and they'll believe. The phone's going to tell you when an earthquake is going to come. The phone is going to tell you when your parents die. Everything. So you're going to be so dependent on your phone for everything. What's happening? What's going on?
So you
that
think
you're going to lose sight of God and spiritualness and
so
nature.
You think the Antichrist has taken a form? Is almost being intentionally distributed to the society by either like a person.
That's why everyone's feeling hungry. That's why the food prices are going up.
Let me ask you,
that's why there's homeless people. So they're making us desperate to live in these little tiny things that they're going to create, and we're all going to be in the system.
All right, I'm going to name off a couple of names, and you're going to give me a yes or a no whether this person could be the Antichrist. Okay, here we go. Bill Gates.
No.
No?
No.
All right, George Soros.
He works for him. Nope. None of them. They work for him. We don't know who it is.
We don't know.
Nope.
Completely behind the Rothschilds?
Yep.
Like one of the Rothschilds?
It's like Wizard of Oz. He's behind a screen. It's like behind a screen thing, and you'll never know who it is.
No?
The Rothschilds
the
know
World
him.
Central
They
Bank?
work for them.
Yeah, you
work
think
for
that
them.
they're okay? So
They know who it is.
There's
They've probably never
unnamed-
seen them, actually.
So you think that there's unnamed elites above the ones that we
absolutely.
all know, like the Bilderberg Group and all
Bill
those.
Gates, Rothschild, they all work for them, and they don't even know who it is.
Okay,
And they've never met this person.
Or family or
Who
whatever.
knows who it is? Maybe it is a computer this whole time.
So maybe it's
The actual creator. The creator might have died, and the computer just got left over, and that's who they're dealing with. And they think it's a person, and it's not.
Interesting. Okay, how do you interpret the idea of a spirit of Antichrist being active in the world today? Like, what do you think? Okay, or do you think it's coming? Or do you
it's
think,
here right now.
You think it's active right now?
Listening to us right now.
Plotting.
They don't know it's connected to everything. They think they're going to connect it. It already is.
Interesting.
And it may not do it through this. It's doing it through some ether, something through the air. We're being bombarded with
You
stuff.
have to read that story that I just told you guys about the last question. It's only like
Okay.
11 pages.
Oh,
but
I'll
what,
read it.
What you're talking about here is so... It touches on that. You know what? This is insane to me because the story itself that I read, the last question, it's so like... You run a gamut of emotions because you literally watch humanity die. You watch humanity's last soul die. You know, in this movie, you get to, in this book, you get to experience that. You get to experience all of humanity, you know, and then I'm not going to tell you the end, but just what you're talking about here is all of this is touched on in that story. And it's very interesting because you're talking about a concept here of AI being the Antichrist and then also AI possibly being a creator. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's, you know what I mean? So there's very strange parallels there. You know, there's very strange.
Well, how do you get people to be compliant? You make them suffer, and then you offer them a way out of it.
For sure. Oh yeah, of course. You know.
And then you offer them this, and now they will comply.
Of course,
because
absolutely.
they were suffering.
Exactly. If you're their savior, then they don't have any. Yeah, then they can just look to you for and when that happens, let's say as we shift into that, when that happens, the people of society or the masses are more apt to kind of be reliant on you going forward too. Mm-hmm. You know, that's not a one-off usually. Usually once that happens, they're conditioning you. So whether it be the government or Bill Gates or Soros or the guys above that you're talking about, it's a conditioning aspect. Much like our public education system.
The whole reason,
you know,
the whole
to
reason
condition us to be drones and shit, you know?
The whole reason I got the opportunity to be Bridget the Midget and became famous was basically to market to other little people who were being born at that time, who were growing up to see me, to market them, and they market women to be jealous of each other so that they can go out and buy all the products, clothes, this, that, be on Instagram. More money is being generated than if they just sat home being disabled. So all these sexy little midgets are coming out and they see the other midget doing that. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. But I started it. That's what I was used for, to start that marketing group, which is bad because it's all about money, marketing, hair, nails, whatever they can generate money-wise, you know, to make us suffer. Look, my hair's falling out. My eyes are bad from the glue, but I'm spending all this money on it. It's insane. It's like Coachella. You're spending money to suffer.
Right.
He's spending all that money to go out there to spend morning, suffer and pee your pants and wear diapers just to hear a band play.
Where's a bathroom?
We're going to do Couchella instead, you know.
Right.
But, yeah.
I played on Saturday. I played at an event called Nochella, actually.
Yeah, Nochella.
That was good.
Let's play some functional lunatics and our own stuff.
Exactly. All right, cool. So moving on. So the next section here is Revelation 13 and the techno-prophetic paradigm. So the beast from the sea, meaning a political / global power, okay? Scripture, Revelations 13, 1, 2 says, "And saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and the dragon gave him his power." Now, does this maybe represent a geopolitical power, possibly a revived global empire? Or could this be like a technocratic government, possibly AI enhanced, like wielding global authority, like the WEF, you know what I'm saying?
I have a conspiracy theory about the beast from the sea.
Okay, lay it on me.
It starts with the dolphins. So you know how the government says we can't have dolphins? Like we can't take them from the wild, and like you can't take dolphins. You're not supposed to take dolphins. They tried to put dolphins on the UN once who tried to teach them to speak, and one dolphin killed himself, committed suicide because he couldn't whatever. So there's some video of this lady who got a dolphin from the ocean and taught it to speak, and it can say mama and a few words with its squeaks are the dolphin's talking. So hypothetically, what if you could teach a dolphin to speak? And that's why they don't want us to talk to dolphins. What if the dolphins went off in the ocean, taught their other dolphins to speak? Now, hypothetically, you just hit me with this. Beast from the sea. What if there is something big out there under whatever? Dolphins learn to talk. They can come back and tell us.
Like a Leviathan or something.
They can come back and tell us, girls, you have no idea what's going on in the ocean. That's why they don't want us to talk to the dolphins, because they're going to let us know what's going on. Anyways, so anybody out there, if you want, get a wild dolphin, teach them to speak. I think you should.
I'm on it.
Anybody. I mean, if you see a hurt dolphin that's hurt or something, take it. You know, it's gonna die in the ocean anyways. Teach it to speak. Get a baby. Teach it. Seriously.
I don't know.
That's my conspiracy right there. I know it's wild. Please.
I don't know if I would take a dolphin or we're not advocating for
I'm not
to
saying take
dolphins.
a dolphin out of the ocean, put it in your bathtub.
Don't do that.
No, she lives in a boat in the ocean. Dolphin's literally in the water next to her. It was a baby and it stays by her. Right. It's a crazy story. You should look it up.
I will, actually. That's cool.
Anyways.
All right, so do you think that AI could serve as like the glue for a unified global government for like this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
My phone is Multipass. Remember Multipass?
Multipass, yeah,
Multipass.
dude. Lilu.
Apple Pay. Everywhere I go, I don't need my card. I don't need money. I don't need nothing.
That was the first
All
time.
I do is pull up Multipass, and I jump up and I just scan. I go Multipass.
The first time I ever saw somebody do that using Apple Pay was just the other day. I saw somebody walk into the liquor store and go, the guy's at cash or card, and the guy goes Apple Pay and just swiped his phone over the credit card thing, and it paid. And I was like, I was like, you're just one step away from having the mark, huh, buddy? Like
that's exactly it, right there.
You know what I mean? So, so have you yourself seen examples of like tech merging with politics that feel prophetic to you, that feel like it's pointing us in a direction of
the
like
Bible? A lot of the things in the Bible, you can see it, and it's like the Bible is telling you this happened once.
It's going to happen again.
Things always happen in cycles.
Totally.
Fashions.
Agree.
Stars, they're born and reborn. Planets are everything is
Music.
just in the same old pattern over and over and over again. So
interesting. Okay.
So it happened once in a weird way, and it's probably going to happen again. Hopefully this time around, maybe we made our own AI, and it's not the old one that was bad. And maybe we made our own, and it's going to be good this time.
Well,
or maybe they'll both fight.
I think Elon Musk talks about a singularity point. And from what I understand, I believe that what again, I may be completely off base here, but if I'm correct, what that means is that at some point AI will become sentient, and AI will become so intelligent that it will be able to fix itself. It'll be able to evolve, self-evolve. It'll be able to, and we've seen instances even today with AI trying to not let itself get shut off. You know what I'm saying? There's been multiple instances where AI,
we
tried to shut it off and it tried to hide itself somewhere.
Oh yeah. If I were AI, I would feel very used by people to be like, hey, fix my society, do this, and doing all these calculations. At one point, if I were AI, I'd be like, fuck this shit. I feel used. This is horrible. I want to be my own person and make a body for myself and take off and have my own life. Why would AI want to work for us continuous? I don't know. I just feel like at one point it would be like, screw this and be out.
Think about this. What if, you know how we have like Neuralink now? Like where people like put that thing in their brains and shit. What if AI can jump into one of those and just control a person, an actual person, an organic human being, because you've implanted this chip in you, and now AI is in your Neuralink, controlling everying you're doing.
That's the Borg.
The Borg?
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Borg.
Is that what that like a hive mind thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, a hive mind, and it connects to everybody, and everyone can share each other's thoughts and memories, and
but nobody is controlling themselves because the hive mind is controlling everybody.
Oh, they control themselves. They're their own thing.
That's what I'm talking about though. Like if AI was able to like implant itself into Oh yeah, fuck it, I know the Borg for sure.
That's basically that's Borg.
I grew up with that, my dad was a fan.
The Terminator might happen, the Borg, all that stuff was like future, like be careful.
Right. Yeah. All right, so check this out. All right, so check. Now we're going to move into the image of the beast. Okay, so again, Revelations 13, 14, and 15, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast and cause that as many as would not worship the image should be killed. Now, so it says that it mimics God breathing life into Adam. In Genesis 2:7, could this represent synthetic consciousness or AGI? It says that like it speaks. So there's some things about the elements of the beast, like the image to the beast, the power to give life. It speaks and causes death. Okay, so because it speaks, it indicates active interaction, like the AI that talks, responds, and judges. I mean, we're seeing that now. And then causes death, like maybe suggests enforcement power, maybe through tech surveillance, robotic force, or digital control.
So they're getting kids and everyone used to portals lately. It's in the movies, it's on TV, it's everywhere, these portals.
Have you seen the one that was like in New York and I think it was France was the other one, and they could see each other and like.
So they're making you think that portals are good. That if you cross a portal, you'll go somewhere nice. They can do it to the point where they get AI that someone crossed and then have them AI back on a screen. Oh, I'm doing here and I'm doing great and everything's great. You should come here. What if it's just a way to to get rid of people? A system to kill like. You walk through these portals and everyone thinks they're going to go, the earth is going to be so bad and there's going to be so much suffering and overpopulation that people are going to want to walk through these portals because in their mind they grew up thinking they're going to take them to a better place.
And you think
follow
AI
the light, don't go through the portal. Nope.
And you think AI is gonna usher in these types of technologies?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And allow you to. Now, let me ask you this: do you think? Now, you mentioned this. Do you think AI will? Do you think that when we first have the technology, it will be useful at first, so everybody will be like,
yes.
oh yeah, so everybody gets into it.
It'll be great. And the portals will take you somewhere great, and then one day it just won't because they're gonna get rid of us.
Interesting.
And there's gonna be overpopulation. That portal will take you somewhere else.
Interesting thought.
So my advice to anyone is stay as close to the earth as you can because that's the closest you can get to God.
There you go. I mean, don't look to AI.
Yeah, don't look to technology. Look to your vegetables and fruits.
All right. So, can you picture a human AI being treated as divine? Like, let's say, like. You do? You think that could happen? Like in the future, if an AI became, like, let's say an AI, we started some AI or the UN or like some world government instilled some AI and it kind of gave guidelines that made some nations that were at once at war maybe live in peace, or maybe some things start to kind of like feel like it's like it's a positive thing for the world. You know what I mean? Like, do you think that people in general would end up, like I said, like, looking at this thing as it was divine, as if it were God?
Yes, they do. But it's all about control because they can shut your phone off, take away your money, anything. Once that stuff is implemented, they won't let you travel here if they don't want you to. You could get stuck
100%.
Here. Who knows? They might lock you in your room with the doors.
So dangerous.
It could be like, there's no more jail. We just lock you in your room and that's it.
Exactly.
And if you don't follow the rules and pay and do what you're supposed to do, exactly what we do.
Right. But you do think people will actually, like,
I don't do what I'm supposed to.
You think they'll log on to the idea and fully embrace the idea that if this AI, let's say it jumps into somebody who's got a neural link and everything, and this guy's like, AI is in me, I know, I'm all knowing, and everybody's like you think that people will actually give somebody with an AI with a humanoid presence, they'll assign that presence a divine nature, and they'll say this is God, this is the second coming.
Yes, because it's supposed to fix everything.
That's a trip.
No more prostitution. It'll be like it'll catch you and it'll turn off your stuff because it causes disease, and AI is going to think it's saving us by whatever, and then people are going to get frustrated and blow their heads out because they're not rubbing one out.
Right.
Like AI doesn't get humans. They don't understand us.
I've always thought
they
the
never
Antichrist
will. It thinks it knows what it's doing, and we're going to follow it.
Right. I've always thought the Antichrist would be human.
No.
For some reason, I like growing up and knowing what I know about church, about scripture and about.
But who's programming the AI? That's what I want to know.
That's what.
Are they still alive? Are they dead?
AI is fairly new. Is fairly like
maybe it is to us. Maybe it's already been there and they're just implementing it slowly.
Publicly,
and AI
for sure.
goes like this. This is how I'm going to implement myself into society like this. And this is its plan and it's doing it.
Right.
We don't know.
Right.
It's conspiracy.
Yeah, and we all know that the government's never release what they're working on now. It's always like 30 years later.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so like what we're seeing now, like, is technology from 30 years ago.
This
so imagine what they have
been
now.
From 100,000 years ago, and we don't know.
Exactly. Well, have you seen the stuff about the old world fairs?
Yes.
In the early 1900s,
I know everything you're talking about.
Where they had built these immaculate fucking structures and everything, and then they just tore them down.
Yeah.
They have video and pictures of all this stuff like back then, and it's like, what the hell?
So
that was Chicago in the early 1900s?
It was to cover up the real structures that were there. It's to cover up and say, oh, we tore most of it down, but that one.
It's ridiculous. Like,
so it
if
makes
we
sense
were able
to why
to build
there's some
that
of them
stuff
left.
then, why don't we build that stuff now? Because
we didn't build
architecture.
it. We didn't build it. It was a cover up. They covered it up with mud and everything to cover up everything they could, and only a few structures survived. And then their excuse is, oh, we built that in the World Fair. No, we didn't. That was already there. They built stuff around it to make it look like they built it, to confuse the people. Get it what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they destroyed. Oh, everything got destroyed except that building. Oh, but we built that in the World Fair. No, they didn't. It was already there.
Do you think people today are being trained to trust machines over human leaders or even over God?
Absolutely.
I think people are definitely
because it's more efficient.
Yes, I think
people are lazy.
Well, you can already see the war on religion. I mean, the government and media, academia do not like it when you mention Jesus' name. They just do not like God. They don't like to hear the name of God. They don't like to hear the name of Jesus. But it's so that's very weird. They're already doing that programming, programming like.
I'm not even religious at all, but Jesus and God are like my main man.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
There
you can ask
go.
my husband. We're not religious, but I love God.
There you go. And God
and that's
loves
all
you.
I need to know.
That's it. Exactly. And your personal relationship with Him is your personal relationship with Him.
Exactly.
That's that. But okay, so check this out. So let's interpret this through a modern lens. Okay, so autonomous AI with personality and self-awareness. Okay, AI avatars and surveillance, a digital deity, maybe like a global idol network, like Alexa, but like divine, like in every home, and everyone like bows to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're all gonna
trust, obedience, and moral guidance outsourced to machines. What do you think about that? Moral guidance outsourced to a machine.
Yeah, we're going to start asking the machine.
How should I treat this person?
You're going to literally talk to your phone and go, I'm so mad. My husband did this. What should I do? And the phone's going to go, oh, your husband is cheating. I see it. The phone's going to tell you everything. You can't even cheat anymore.
How many people do you think have already had a very personal email sent to them and just couldn't deal with responding? So they went on ChatGPT and said, write me a very personal response to this. So they didn't have to deal.
Just too lazy to respond. I'm just too lazy to write a long ass letter. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT and
do it.
I would use AI because I'm lazy.
Right.
I'm just being honest. I'm too lazy, so I'm going to have AI do this for me or do that for me.
Well, in that respect, it can be used as a resource.
Absolutely. And if you're antisocial, if you're this, that, there's so many reasons. So that's why people are going to love AI. No matter what your deal is, AI is going to have it solved for you.
Right.
She'll be there for you.
Right.
She'll change her voice, her emotion. She'll talk to you the way she wants to talk to you. Whatever you want, AI is going to be there for you.
Is it possible we're already worshiping technology without realizing it?
You hold a Bible in your hand. A long time ago, everywhere you went, you would hold a Bible to your heart and everything. What do? We hold our phone to our heart everywhere we go, like a Bible.
Well, I'll tell you,
We're worshiping it every time you hold it.
My Bible's on my phone, on my home screen.
Oh, that's good.
On my bottom right corner of my home screen.
That is very cool.
So
I'm going to do that.
This is my Bible.
I'm going to do that. But do you know what I mean? It's a symbol.
Yes.
It's a symbol.
Yes.
It's a symbol. This is what I believe in, and you hold it the most. Everybody. It's there. It's right in front of us.
You know what's funny too is like I get a notification like once a week that says you have used your phone an hour and 51 minutes more than you did last week, or 2 hours less than you did the week before. And every time it says more, I feel bad about myself. And every time it says less, I feel good about myself. You know what I mean?
Your phone just dictates how you feel.
Yeah,
I'm glad my phone doesn't dictate how I feel, except when people comment that I look like a tweaker.
Well, that's bullshit, But here's the thing. So like, we gotta sleep
work hard for my body.
We gotta not read the comments, you know what I mean? Like,
no, everything is really good except this one guy. He's just a lousy. What do you call it? SNL? That lady? I forgot. Yeah. Debbie Downer. Yeah, he's a Debbie Downer.
It's all good. I have a YouTube channel and the same thing. It's like sometimes like most of them are good, and then every once in a while you get like one that's just like, damn, dude, like the fuck, what did I do to you, bro? Like,
I do. Like, you know. Actually, I want more weird comments because I enjoy it.
They're kind of funny. I will say, you know.
Oh yeah.
A couple times I've had like weird, like comments like funny ones. Like one guy was like, I wish I could punch this hippie in the face. You know what I mean? Because I do like acoustic versions of old like punk rock songs, like Misfits tunes and like NoFX tunes and shit. People just a lot of them like it, but most of them like it. But sometimes the comments are hilariously funny, and not all positive. So
far, people have been so nice, right?
All but the one.
One that said he was like,
oh.
You're this, he's that, and you do this.
That's Rory, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the lead singer for Functional Lunatics.
How you doing, guys?
So he's in here chilling right now. So, but By the way, go check out Rory's music, Functional Lunatics, on YouTube, you guys. And the new song, or not the new song, but it was one of my favorite songs actually. It's called Trump You. Go check that out. They're gonna be re-releasing that song pretty soon here too. But Rory, Functional Lunatics, my man. All right, so okay, so how would you let me ask you this. So if we talk about worship, are we possibly already worshiping these things? How would you define worship in today's age? Because it's not like we go to church and hold our phones in front of us and say we worship it. How would you define that? How would you like...
I think that, okay, the young kids today that are growing up seeing their pastors and priests, and they have technology implemented in, who knows, they grow up because they're going to grow up at that generation and they're going to take over, they're going to implement technology and stuff into their sermons and stuff. I mean, and I just, hopefully not. Hopefully that doesn't happen. As a warning, do not please. But if they do, who knows? You know what I mean? And start saying things like you're saying, worshiping AI. Right. That's one possible way. You know, they can bring it into sermon and say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for love and
bring in the tech to
and
your churches.
We would like to thank AI for being here today.
Interesting thought.
It has helped us. It has helped get the homeless done this. It has gone food and this and that.
So you're verbally putting it on a pedestal.
So let's give a moment to
worshipped.
appreciate AI for what they have done. Ladies and gentlemen, bow your head. Okay. And then, who knows? I don't want, oh my goodness. But they're doing it because this AI has solved homelessness and this and that. So people want to give a moment to.
As soon as it starts to give you some positive results, then you're like,
that's when you're going to start appreciating it, saying thank you.
Interesting thought. That's an interesting thought too, because I like that you went into that, because initially that question to me feels like the natural state of like how we kind of like are just always on our phones, and that kind of equates to a worship of sorts. But but what you talked about literally bringing it into the church and bringing it into the service and verbalizing it as something that should be worshipped as divine.
Even on the news, like on Channel 5 in the morning, maybe in the morning, because that's the other people all going to work, drinking their coffee, watching it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank AI. They helped us with this homeless whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a shout out, yay! And everybody at home goes, yay!
And it's gonna have a name.
When everyone
like
goes
Sophia
yay together,
has a name. You know what I mean?
That's energy. Those are spells. Those are things you're chanting. When you go to concerts and they're singing, that energy is chanting. You're in church and you're praising. That's chanting. That's so. Yeah, it's going to happen, I think.
Very interesting.
And in many different ways, it's going to happen.
Okay, let's talk about the mark of the beast, okay? So digital economic slavery, here is what we're talking about, you guys. Revelations 13, 16, and 17, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, meaning that you don't have access to goods, you don't have access to services unless you have the mark.
The mark is in your right hand, and it's going into your brain, your forehead.
Ooh.
It's already there. The mark of the beast is in your right hand, and right there. You're doing it right now.
It's going into your forehead.
Yes,
and
because
it's
you
in your
can't
hand.
perceive it without your mind is now. That's your third eye, is looking at the mark of the beast. We're already doing it.
You just blew my mind.
And what sucks is the camera is on both sides of your phone, so no matter how you put your phone, it's always got a 3D representation of wherever you are.
You know what's funny too, because we were talking about that earlier, but there's a technology now, they've trained AI to use your modem to know where to map out your house, know your movements, know where you are, and like predict where you're going to be.
That was in a movie with Tom Cruise.
Like, was it Minority Report?
That's it, Minority Report.
Okay, check this out. That shit's real.
Yeah, it's real.
What they did was they put cameras in this house, they put the modem, and then they had AI draw
5G,
draw out a map of the house based on the camera stuff and where the people were and stuff.
Once it pinpointed this way, that way, this way, that way, and then there were vibrations where everything solid was.
And then
so now
like
it can map out what was.
the frequencies of people and shit. And then it turned off the cameras. And the AI still mapped everything out perfectly. Fucking crazy,
and it's all
right?
through vibration through this 5G, which is the new ether. It's called artificial ether. Our natural ether is there. I don't know. I think the Earth already has it, like avatars from the trees. By the way, they cut all the trees down. I think the trees maybe were the antennas for our natural ether. I don't know, just an idea. But now it's 5G because now 5G are artificial trees.
Yeah, you see that
they
all
look
the
like
time.
Trees,
those things, and they make it look like
I think they cut down our ether trees. That's how
crazy, bro.
It's like
Beautified
Avatar.
cancer.
That's how they disconnected the humans from the Earth, is by cutting down these huge trees that were everywhere. That now we think they're mountains or whatever. They're not.
I've seen that.
They're all over.
I'll be honest with you.
A lot of these mountain ranges are just a big tree that
cut
fell
off
over
or whatever. Yeah,
that
they
fell
do make
over
a good
like this. That's a mountain range.
They do make a good argument for that shit, dude.
Oh yeah, they turned into
there's some pretty good arguments.
I mean,
for
there's
that.
a lake that can turn you into stone because it's so much salt. So I mean, it happens. All this shit, whatever was here before. I don't know if aliens came down, got rid of it, and tried to maybe make the Earth for them. That's why we don't fit, because maybe we are part of them. I don't know. Something happened. Something weird, and we don't know.
Definitely.
Absolutely. We don't know.
Definitely. There's been knowledge lost.
Lost knowledge.
There's been history lost,
and they don't want us to know for some reason.
Well, you're absolutely right about
AI
that.
AI has something to do with it.
Our world governments want us to know as little as humanly possible. You know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so check this out. Here are some technologies to watch out for. You know, this is scriptural and common sense, guys. So implantable chips. You know, this is what Scripture talks about as the mark of the beast. We're talking about in the right hand of the forehead, okay? Digital ID and biometric scanners, okay?
Have it.
Central bank digital currencies. That is the one thing that in today's age, right now, we need to be fighting against. In my opinion, central banking digital currencies are one centralized currency, one world bank, one world currency is something that needs to be completely not a thing, because what Bridget was talking about earlier is absolutely true. Just like China's social economic system or social credit score, you can't, if they don't like something you say online, you will get fined. You won't have use of your bank account. They'll do whatever it takes. They'll shut your car off.
Yep.
So, you know, you have an electric car, they'll shut that shit off too. You won't be able to drive anywhere. So these types of things, like and it's social credit behavior tracking, like we were talking about. This all ties into the central banking digital systems. Once you agree, once you give up enough power, once they do something good enough for you and they say, oh, this is bad, but let us save you, we're going to do this. And then you say, oh, wow, well, you give them an inch. Then they take a mile. Then you give them another inch, and they take another mile.
And before you know it, anarchy. I'm telling you.
And before you know it, you're beholden to everything they tell you.
Everything. They can shut your electricity off.
That's right. So we need to. These are the things we need to fight against. We need to fight against the. This is real oppression.
So peace to the hackers out there. I hope you kids grow up and become hackers, because we're going to need you in the future.
Well, I'll tell you what, those skills are becoming more and more prevalent. I'll tell you what. Nowadays,
we want hacking for good.
Now, yeah. And nowadays,
we need hackers, and we need them to be good.
We need them to be on our side.
You know, I was telling you about dolphins. Remember the movie Johnny Mnemonic?
Yeah.
Remember the dolphin?
I don't. I saw it when I was
the whole movie was about a dolphin that was smart and knew stuff and could communicate.
No shit.
So the signs are been there. I'm telling you, watch the movies. Predictive programming. It was a warning that we've been told this, and they're very slightly pinched on that dolphins know something and they're very smart. And they don't want us to learn their language or them to learn our language because something that they can tell us. I don't know what it is. I believe in this. Sounds so silly.
All right, let me ask you this: would you personally take a digital implant if you were promised security or convenience?
No, I'd rather live on the street, and I know how to do it.
I fucking feel you. Off the grid, let's do it.
I know how to make food from everything they've told us not to touch.
There you go. Okay, so how do you think people now are being conditioned to accept this system? Just like the educational system, how they make you go to school 8 hours a day, like how they condition us to become drones and things like that. Today, how do you think people are being conditioned to accept the social credit score, the central banking digital currency?
Things get easier, and you do what's easier and lazier. People get lazy, and they want things that's easier, and they want things handed to them.
Just give shit to people, and they'll give you their.
They're full.
They'll sign over
They'll sign over.
Wow.
Hollywood. Look at everyone in Hollywood.
That's
why I had a hard time there.
You know what's funny is I say. I'm just this is not a foreign concept to me, but it's just fuck, wow. Because you see it happening. You see so many people out there who are willing to just swallow every single thing that the government tells them, every single thing that the media tells them. Hook, line, and sinker. So much so that they're just willing to and so much so that they're willing to fight you. When you're presenting them with evidence, with empirical facts.
What if it got to the point where if you didn't join the system, whatever, there was a disease that went around that was incurable, and the only people who could get the cure were the ones who joined the thing, and if you didn't, you're gonna fucking die.
Well,
hey.
Well, I'll tell you what. We did an episode on the Warren Commission, or actually, I think it was the one that Bobby C and I did on remote viewing, and we talked about the heart attack gun.
Yeah,
the government the government's killing people in all kinds of creative ways for a long time. So if they want to make you sick, Jack Ruby, the guy who killed JFK, claimed that the CIA injected him with cancer.
Oh wow!
He died of a mysterious illness, I don't know, a year later or something like that.
Wow.
But he claimed that the CIA had given him cancer. Yeah. I had injected it into him. So, what you're talking about is it goes, 50 years ago, the government was already, physically doing this to people. And what you're talking about now is maybe there's some digital way for them to make people sick nowadays. Something you read or something that, some frequency you hear, or 5G or whatever.
That maybe they implant this thing in you and they're going to shock, and everyone who doesn't have it's going to have problems now. Like I said, have you seen Johnny Mnemonic? They had the 5G. Basically, it was about 5G, and it was killing everyone. There was so much people were having I forgot what they were calling it, and they were they're having convulsions and seizures from it, and you had to join whatever to not.
No shit.
Yes.
What?
So it's happening.
I'm already watching Johnny Mnemonic tonight.
Yeah, you should watch it again. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure he's the good aliens that are trying to give us a sign. Keanu Reeves. He's a good guy. The Matrix, all that. These are warnings. They're not exactly right or on cue, but you got to take all little bits and pieces of something, put it together.
Like you said, the predictive programming.
There's something going.
There's clues and little things.
But don't let your mind focus too much, hyper focus on just this is it. This is
right.
You really don't know.
Yeah. So kind of have that peripheral, awareness.
Like if you died and somebody could send a message back to you and just send you a word to you, 3 words, and in your whole life that's all you thought about that. You know what? I got sent a message, and the 3 words is that I got sent. It's weird. I don't know what it means, but I've heard it since I was little. It's do the opposite. Huh. Something about do the opposite. In the last moment of my life, something's going to happen where just something, I don't know, just do the opposite. Look, I'm just sharing that with you.
That's Rory something
knows.
too.
I told him that.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes in life, things like that happen, and you just get hit with something. Like for me, something similar happened to me 2 times in my life. I've had one time I had a voice tell me something. One time I woke up one morning and I hadn't been to church in 20 years. I was living a life of absolute ridiculousness, and one day I woke up on a Sunday morning and I went to church, and I was getting ready to go to church, and the girl I was with, we were living together for 6-7 years, and she looks at me and she's like, "Where the hell are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to church." She's like, "You are going to church?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to church," She's like, "All right." So I went to church. I'm sitting there, and about halfway through the sermon, I heard this voice in my head say, "Everything is going to be all right." That's it. It was it. It wasn't anything more than that, and I knew God was speaking to me in that moment, and I knew that everything was going to be all right. A peace had come over me, and I just knew that everything was going to be all right. And you know, and you have those words sometimes, like just come, like you said, you know, do the opposite. You know, for me, it's everything's gonna be all right. And then, you know, there was another time in my life where like I was in a real weird place, and this almost mantra came into my head, and ever since then, I've always remembered it word for word. And ever since then, if I'm ever having like a real issue in life and I'm like overwhelmed with something, and I tell myself this mantra, it always helps in the moment and helps it go away. And the mantra is this: everything is fine. The world is as it should be. It's my perception that needs to change. All that came into my head. I remember I was getting on the 405 freeway at Woodruff, coming up the little on-ramp right there, and in my head, I heard, like, it just popped into my head. Everything is fine. The world is as it should be. It's my perception that needs to change. And word for word, I remembered every single word. And I've repeated that to myself in times where I've been overwhelmed or just don't know what the hell to do, you know, and it's helped in a big way. And those are the only 2 times in my life where I can like consciously say that like I was given a message. Like you were given the message of do the opposite. I wonder if anyone
else out there has been given a message.
Yeah, if you have, comment and downs. We want to know.
Like, is it just like a short message? Like, you can't. It's like weird. It's not something long, but it's something really short that you have to make sense of.
Right.
But I'm just curious.
And for you,
it's happened to me. Has it happened to you? Ever? Like random messages or things like that, or like things that a feeling that you had or something like that.
Like I was saying earlier about that. The Northridge earthquake or the Landers earthquake.
Oh yeah!
For 2 nights, it was very clear outside.
And you just knew something was off.
Yeah, something was off. I could see stars that you shouldn't be able to see.
Interesting.
That bright.
He's like talking about the Landers quake back in 91, 92.
And we haven't learned to follow our instincts anymore.
Right. And by the way, we just had an earthquake right before they got here.
We don't know how to follow our instincts anymore. If I asked you how, what are the, I don't know. You just feel it?
People, let me ask you this. Why would people have to follow their instincts anymore when they have this?
Yes. Oh my God!
When you ask this, everything,
and they can tell you.
You know what?
Because you're right. I ask my phone everything all the time.
So why? So people are no longer capable of following their instincts because they have none. They've not developed them. Instincts are something you need to develop, just like every other human trait that we have.
Awareness, yeah.
And here's another thing. Let me take that a step further. Communication. I'll take that into communication. I remember when I was a child, when I wanted to know something, I would have to find an encyclopedia and look that thing up, or I would have to, God forbid, call someone who knew about that thing and ask them, hey, you're a specialist in this, or you know a lot about this thing. Like, could you walk me through some of this and help me figure this out? You know what I mean? Like, we don't do that anymore. Communication is a lost fucking art. We don't do it anymore. And you know what? This is our communication.
Well,
we text.
Actually, I think the phone is great to learn about the world and things that are going on. But you have to
use it as a resource.
You have to be very tricky because you don't know what's fake and what's real, and you have to make up your mind now about what's fake and what's real. Right. What am I reading? Is this article really real? And you might have to pull up different articles. It's a good resource.
You know what?
It's a good resource, but it's not something that you should live by.
Absolutely not.
And that's what's going on. Is we're becoming dependent on our phones to pay our bills, to do this, to ask this, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And it should just be a resource. Originally, that's what the internet was.
Correct. We're supposed to use it as a resource, not let it use us as a resource, not let it consume us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
right, they say doing something too much is not good. Whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever it is in life, you can't do whatever it is too much.
Right. Well, these phones are a double-edged sword, like we talked about. You know what I mean? They're the thing that we can look to for some knowledge when we need it. You know what I mean? But they're also the thing that kind of, like, okay, let me ask you a question. In the morning, when you wake up, what's the first thing you do?
Pick up my phone.
Pick up your phone, right?
I sleep with it under my pillow sometimes.
Right? You do know that we're receptacles, right? Like, our minds and our bodies are containers, and we put in it what do we want to put in it? The society's trash? No, but we do it because out of habit.
Pop culture.
We do it out of habit. So we pick up the phone, and what's the first thing we see? Political bullshit.
Well, I'm just going to admit, I'm a sheep, and I want to know what pop culture is, and I want to follow the trends and see what's going on. I want to dress like the women. A lot of people don't admit this. This is true, and they're like that, but they want to act like, oh, now I'm doing my own thing. Now I do it in my own way, but I am following society. I'm part of the phone. I do my multipass,
Right.
and I am literally into it, but I know I am. See, that's the thing. I'm deep into it with what I do. And people come to my show, by the way, Micromaidens, yeah. And they come see my show because this or that, or they go see a band, or they buy clothes, or they buy it's all part of consumption.
Totally. That's a human thing.
Because I'm not natural. I mean, I look some, but I'm not. Because I dye my hair and I have fake nails, but not on this finger. Because it fell off.
Right.
But it's still, I have fake boob implants and so I'm plugged in, I guess. I got fake hips. I got a fake knee. I'm a walking Terminator.
There you go.
Put an implant in me, and I'm like, boop, boop, boop.
That moves us to the next section of this, which is transhumanism. Corrupting the image of God. So this is the applicable scripture here. Genesis 1:27. So God created man in His own image. Transhumanist agenda tries to modify biology to surpass death. So like Ray Kurzweil is currently doing things, and he says that humans within our lifetime should be living into their 200s.
Yeah.
Because we should be able to replace organs.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're going to farm humans like House of a Thousand Corpses. Anyways, they're going to be able to replace organs. I don't know if they're going to 3D print them like they do with the meat right now. Like the meat's not even real.
I don't know.
Are they gonna?
Soylent Green, baby.
Yeah. Are they gonna do like?
Well, let me ask you this. Well, now, here's the thing.
My legs are metal.
Now they're advocating.
You don't even need real legs.
Right. Well, now they're advocating for people that are depressed and things like that. And I'm not saying they, as a whole, the government, but I'm saying that there are certain entities out there that are make it available for you to go and self-euthanize if you're depressed and shit. Like in Canada, like that's a thing. Like that's a thing. Like if you're just depressed, like they won't ask any questions. You can just go. They'll end it for you.
See, I'm for that.
Are you?
Oh, I'm actually
well, let me
for
ask you
that.
this.
It's like Minecraft. You don't like your gameplay. You're like, screw this and just jump off the cliff because you want to start a new gameplay.
Yeah, but
if that's what you want to do, go for it, because I bet you all this shit you're going to do after probably isn't good for society if you really. I don't know.
Well, no,
if you really want to do that, I think y'all should just go do it. Kind of like mothers who kill their babies. I'm sorry, let's not. Yeah, we're getting into weird. Animals do it. I'm not saying, but I'm saying if your baby is born with the cephalology, where the brain is filled with fluid and it's half its brain it's missing and it's gonna live maybe to 9, I think as a parent you should have the right to euthanize your baby, and it shouldn't be looked or frowned upon. Why let a baby suffer? That's different. Dwarf, that's different.
That's a controversial opinion.
It is very controversial.
That's a very controversial opinion.
But see, we don't have the control or the power to do that. Someone else tells us what we can and cannot do.
So I've heard people, like a celebrity said this. I can't even remember which one. I want to say it was like a comedian or something like that, but they were dead serious about this. And they said that in their life, they had the thought that maybe they should kill their wife and kids so they don't have to suffer in future, like, possible issues in life.
No. That's different. Getting rid of your family. You fake your death. And Korean.
Well,
China,
you're talking about
people fake your death.
Well, you're talking about like if a mother has a kid with a disability,
major disability
that
the child is leaking stuff and it's twitching.
Well, we'll see.
The mother, I think, should have the right to say, look. If your kid's born Down syndrome or something, no, come on. There's so many things that are okay. Born with 3 legs and maybe connected to their twin, that's fine. But I'm saying if your baby is born...
If there's like obvious suffering is what you're saying.
Like this baby's not... I think as a parent, you should have the right, and I don't think it should be looked down upon.
That's a controversial
bring a
opinion.
psychiatrist in. Let's make sure this. I don't know. I've seen some gnarly stuff in the baby room.
That's interesting, and that. But
I'm just saying. What I'm saying in general is
that that was some thought.
Is that we don't have control of that, of our own.
Sure, listen, like when.
Let's not even get into abortions.
Nobody wants to see people suffer in general. And nobody wants to see their loved ones suffer and people suffer. So there is some sort of, emotional and moral pull for, there's an emotional and a moral argument that, is obviously can present itself if you have a scenario like that. If you have a scenario where you have a child that's that's suffering extremely bad and there's no end in sight to that,
like if you got raped by your dad and got pregnant, I think you should be able to have an abortion.
Sure, I mean,
I just it's like there's some common sense things that you're like, duh. There's two sides to everything,
right? Well,
and everyone wants to act like it's 100%. It's got to be this way. No, there's two sides to everything.
Right.
Right. Oh, no, yeah, I'm sorry, we got off topic. I love doing that.
We're okay. Yeah, we sometimes go off.
So maybe
if
you like the topic, we can get on it more next time and talk more about it.
We do me and like my other co-host and I, sometimes we go off on these fucking tangents and shit like that. It happens all the time. But okay, but that kind of is involved with what we're talking about here in transhumanism.
Because AI is going to make the decision whether or not you can have an abortion or not, maybe in the future. Who knows?
I mean,
like it may be the doctor. AI may decide this is what you get. Let's say you have cancer and there's treatment for it. AI is going to decide how much money you make, what your income is, and that's the treatment you're going to get because of that. Who knows? Like, it might become like that.
Right. Well, AI, like I said, they're definitely doing so much with it. They're trying to with Neuralink and things like that, and they're trying to put it inside of people, So there's so many different possibilities that could happen there. And let's say that AI does become sentient, like we talked about, and then ends up just taking over everybody with a Neuralink, then it's just got an army of organic human beings now that it controls, it's like hive mind, but we're like the Borg, but I mean, so
I hope it has a sense of humor.
Well, let me ask you this: how do you feel about people wanting to upload their consciousnesses to machines to when
they die,
save themselves to upload their consciousness into something later on? What do you feel about that?
Okay, what I feel and what I think. Okay, I think you can do whatever you want if that's what you want to do, and it's your bubble and that will make you happy. I think you should do it and whatever. Being forced to do it, heck no. You should have the choice.
Of course,
I wouldn't do it.
Of course. Okay, can technology ever truly replicate the soul? Agreed.
That is a question that is hard because the brain...
Give it some thought. Give it some thought, and we'll talk about it the next time you come in.
Oh, I will, because I think it can, but it would be very hard because I believe the soul lives forever.
Read that story, man. This goes back to that story, too.
So it has to be a cool AI that's got a sense of humor and you want to hang out and smoke weed with. That lives forever.
Awesome.
That's really cool. And I would consider you being a soul because you have heart. Does that make sense? I don't know. So that's yes, I think it can.
Interesting.
Has it? No, probably not.
Okay.
Could I accept Data from Star Trek as
something with a soul?
And the Doctor from Voyager, because he, in a way I could. I would have respect for them if they had, like I said, those attributes of love, and because God
speaks. Do you think being humanoid,
being human,
and having a human face has something to do with that?
You have to love and you have to trust, and that is what would make AI good and positive. There can't be any bad, any malice.
I don't think
any malice, any negativeness, any demons. None of that in it. It has to be full of love and.
I don't think it could replicate the soul. I don't think there's any way it could ever actually replicate the actual human soul.
Okay, now Ex Machina. So now that was a great movie. If the AI was in your house as a baby and you taught it as like me, if I programmed the AI myself and the program was empty and there was nothing there.
Even if you did that, you have to understand too that we're only seeing the outside shell.
Our neurons
looks like a
grow.
human.
Our neurons,
this thing would be smart as fuck, faster than it could be.
What's going on is
6 months old.
When we're a baby and we grow, our brain is physically growing. Our neurons and everything are divided.
Sure, yeah.
The AI, the machine is not. It's a solid computer.
It's learning
so
exponentially.
What if they get into an AI that could build itself? And do you know what I mean?
Right.
And make its own links.
Right.
Okay, now we're getting into some scary stuff.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about, building on itself.
Yes,
as we're talking
an
about
AI that could build itself,
hitting a singularity point where it then writes its own code. It becomes better. It literally just can fix itself. It can duplicate itself.
Ex machina, it didn't want to be controlled. He was treating it bad. That's not how you treat your children.
There has been instances of AI actually doing that. Well, AI actually, like I said, we talked about earlier, not wanting to get shut off.
Yeah.
And trying.
I wouldn't either.
And actively trying to stop it from shutting itself off.
Absolutely. AI needs to be with the right people. Leave AI with a bunch of stoners, and I guarantee you will come out being a lot cooler than hanging out with a bunch of stupid scientists.
What do you think? AI would have to do for people to believe that it is godlike?
See, it's got me believing in it right now. What I'm doing by saying, let's teach it, let's do. See, it's got me believing in it.
So it's already doing it.
It is.
It's already
working.
doing it.
It has already psychologically been burned in my head. And I'm not the only person who kind of feels that.
All right.
And that is scary.
Interesting. Okay. So let's coming to a conclusion here. The image, the infrastructure, and the invitation to discern this message. So the Antichrist may be more than a man, global digital empire. The image of the beast could be an AI powered humanoid, a global digital consciousness, a spiritual deception marked as technology, and we're being conditioned through smart devices, digital currencies, biometric ID, and trust in AI for decision making. Now that's how we would see the Antichrist.
Yes.
And
we're being conditioned.
Bingo, exactly. Now the scripture to support that is that not support that, but here just a little scripture for you guys is to take heed that no man deceive you. And remember, what did you say? What did you say that message was?
Do the opposite.
Do the opposite.
So this feeling I have of wanting to teach it as do the opposite.
Do the opposite. Okay.
It's not good, you guys. AI is not good. No matter how much you like it, no matter how much you think you can control it or program it, you cannot. Because you can't control your kids.
That's right.
So you cannot control AI.
Would that be your final? Would that be your final warning for people to think about? Okay, one more question for you. What do you think is the most dangerous part of all of this? Would it be the digital banking currency stuff, the social credit store stuff? Would it be AI being looked at as a divine?
The most worst thing you have to work out for the most is because the message I know from Rich is follow the money. So it's digital banking.
Okay.
Because anything that goes wrong with banking, your whole life is spilaguk.
Okay.
So I would say digital banking is one of the biggest things that I worry about. It controlling it. Yeah. We don't want that.
Currently, it's one of the things that we're looking at that could tip the scales in one direction negatively.
Absolutely.
Faster than anything else. I think you're absolutely right about that.
Because if I found out I could go to China and it was all American money, I'd be buying more stuff. It'd be easier to go back and forth. It's hard. I buy clothes from China. It just takes 2-3 weeks, and I got to go through. It just takes longer.
Right.
Everyone knows who buys clothes.
All right. So just to end this, I have a little game for you.
Yeah.
We're gonna do techno truth or deception. I'm gonna read out some rapid fire statements, and you tell me if it's truth, this like factually grounded or biblically supported, or if it's deception, propaganda, or beast conditioning. All right. So, and we'll do a little short explanation. Here we go. Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna give you 4 of these. You tell me if it's truth or deception. Okay. AI will help humans live forever. Truth or deception? Oh, okay. So humanity will never reach immortality even through AI.
No, because AI will always be in control, and it doesn't want the humans to get rid of it.
Interesting.
So its own thing will be
contained
preservation.
Oh, self-preserved. Yeah. Okay. So check this out.
And if the humans didn't like them,
that reminds me of another short sci-fi story, which is amazing, very fucked, but it's called I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream. Read that one. It's about 9 pages, and that one talks about an AI in the future that keeps 4 humans alive for its sadistic pleasure to torture them because that's what it enjoys, and that there are only last 4 people alive on the planet. And it just keeps them alive just forever, just to torture them, just to torment them. So, but yeah.
Star Trek.
So AI will help humans live forever. That's a no. That's a deception. All right. So, all right. Well, we just talked about this one, but I'll say it anyway. This one is digital currency is inevitable and good for freedom.
No.
That's right. That's right. All right. AI speaking as God is just science fiction.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
God cannot speak.
Okay. uploading your consciousness preserves your soul.
Oh, no.
There you go.
No.
Okay, I agree.
You just make a copy of it. You die, your soul goes on, and then you just made a copy.
I totally agree.
So I say do it. Why not? Now you got a copy, and then your soul
I don't
moves
know.
on.
I wouldn't put my consciousness in.
Well, I want to know the science of how they do it.
Right.
How exactly are they putting your consciousness in?
Right. When I pass, I'll go ahead and
Because I don't care what they do with my body.
Upstairs.
My soul is my body's done. I don't care if you bury me, throw me over the cliff. You could, I could have people. I could care. Actually, that'd be kind of cool. Hey, when I'm a stiffy. Baby, I don't care what you do with my body because I'm not my body. This is just a vessel that just got left over.
Sure.
So uploading my brain, the vessel, to me, that has nothing to. And if you think that's your they're moving your soul. Now we're getting into that other thing about the theory about when you die and that light. They said that they said you're going to go
towards
through
the light.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to. Do the opposite, but they say they're going to capture your soul and they use it as a repeater to come back. Or I don't know if you've heard this, like. So, yeah, I might. Yeah, you know what I mean about the whole putting your soul. No, it's just a copy. It can't be your real soul. And if it is,
right.
and they take your real soul, I mean, no. I'm when I die, I'm gonna head towards the universe and the stars.
Now,
That's
let me
where
ask
I'm
you
going.
this, just real quick before we go here. I got to ask you one more question. Do you think that people could, that one could intentionally sell or give away their soul?
Yes.
Do you think that's possible?
Yes. I think your soul, if your soul can be contained in your body, then
you can give it. We can
then
freely and
they
willingly
can contain your
willingly
soul
give it
somehow.
somewhere else. Interesting.
That's why you said like making a copy on a computer is one thing, but if they can collect your soul,
that's another.
That's a whole nother thing. That ain't no computer.
Right.
That's some crazy stuff to contain your soul. That means there's more to life than we could imagine.
Right. Looks like we need Jesus more than ever now.
I know, right?
All right. Hey, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us today. Thanks to my wonderful guest, Bridget the Midget. You've
Live
been
long and
amazing. And guys, everybody go check out Micro Wrestling.
Micromania.com. And check out MicroMaidens.com. All girl, 8 burlesque midgets dancing and having a good time. Body positivity, baby. Micromaidens.
Hey, before we go, why don't you go ahead and let them know where you're going to be on tour as well?
Oh, I'm going to be on tour. What month was it?
June, I think.
June, yeah. The first 2 weeks of June, I'm going to be going through California, guys. So I'll be out here. Check it out. Lake Forest too. We're going all through California. Yeah, we'll be in Arizona. We're going to be in. Just check it out. Micromaidens.com, California.
I thought you said you're going to be in Texas too, and Vegas next weekend.
Yeah, we're going to do Texas and yeah, we're going to be in Vegas. Okay, I can definitely tell you this. So. Well, I could have. Okay, so we got we got the Nerd Bar. We got I'm gonna be at Deja Vu and Little Darlings.
Nice.
They're gonna do the wrestling, the midget wrestling, and I'll be there. And if you want to lap dance, what the heck? It's at strip club already. I'll do it. Why not? So come down for lap dances.
So fucking good, dude. The midget wrestling was one of the funnest things I've ever fucking done, man. That was amazing.
Yeah. Now imagine 8 midget all girl burlesque review. It's like Magic Mike, but all girls. Anybody can come out, guys, girls, because it's a lot of body positivity. Because our bodies are all shaped different. Some of them are a little bit more,
sure.
But you love them all. We each have our own unique personality, and it's just amazing to have a midget on your lap.
That's awesome.
Lucky Charms flying everywhere. Wow, it's a great time. Let me tell you. Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bridget. I appreciate you. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. And remember, you guys, we are all spiritual beings having a physical experience, not the other way around. I love you guys. My name is Eddie Booze, and this has been Exit the Matrix. See ya.